Hi guys, so I'm back. I know I said yesterday that I would probably do this off camera, but I figured why not do it on camera. So we'll do one at a time now. I'm going to try and just do the edges because that's what's not going to be covered with paper. And I've decided that I'm going to gesso the parts of the box first, and then I'm going to paint it. And I've decided as of right now that I'm going to paint it black. I just think it'll pop on the papers a little bit. I thought about gold, but then I realized I don't really have any gold. And yeah, so I also can't find my my craft sheet. I don't know where it is, so we'll have to get along without it. But I love that thing because it keeps things from not being so messy. So, not a lot happened today. Well, today was CPR, and it was also my Friday, and so that's good. Makes me happy. And it was pretty uneventful. We got done early because the evening class is very small. These edges right here, I'm definitely going to just paint the whole thing. And I say uneventful up until the last 15 minutes that I was in the building. Now, working at the school, we generate at times quite a bit of parking. And so we always try and be conscientious about where we tell our students to park so they don't, park in front of people's houses and then they have to walk 5-6 blocks. So there's the whole spiel that they get when they register. If they register online, they get like 2 paragraphs like this long in the email from my mother-in-law about where they should be parking. When they come in and do their registration paperwork with me, like just finishing up paperwork and, signing a few things, I give them another kind of first day expectations, and I go over where to park with them. And we tell them not to park on this one street. It's called Lombard, because the houses there are very close together. And, just like any city street, they're just close together. And they, parking is kind of a premium. And who wants to get off work, in the evening time and come home and find that there's no parking? So we ask our students not to park there. And this session, we actually had a gal. She didn't make it in before class actually started to, sit down and talk with me about that. So she didn't really know where to. And anyway, lady came in and we rectified the situation right away. We just asked the student, go move your car. There's, other parking spots. And she did, and it was fine. So that's kind of the backstory. There's another story. The residents on this street, Lombard, are, in my opinion, if you are an a-hole or a jerk, pardon the strong language, they will, here, let me move this back so you guys can see what I'm doing. You should live on Lombard. And that's just because there was another incident, which I'll tell you guys in a little bit, of one of the men who lives on that street. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit. So we'll bring in this other one. Okay, so back to today. So about the last 15 minutes before, I'm in the building, CPR, the class had already finished. And there was one student left in the building, plus myself and the CPR instructor. And this lady comes in the door, and she's very loud. And she goes, "Hello." And I was like, hello, as being friendly. I was actually, the CPR instructor was answering a question from the student who was still currently there. I was just trying to, do a little bit of setup for Monday. And anyway, so she starts out, "Your students are parking on Lombard." And that's not how her voice is. I can't even do her voice. And I'm not going to tell you what I think it sounds like because I don't want to offend anyone. So anyway, so she's very accusatory and just automatically saying that, your students are parking on Lombard and, you know, they need to stop. Okay, let's try this. This might be a little bit better. I noticed that my video was a little bit choppy. So hang on one second. To do that. Okay, so anyway, so she comes in and she's very accusatory, and she goes, just your students are parking on Lombard again. Whose car is it? And she said it was this big black truck, and none of us who were still in the building drive a big black truck. Now, mind you, let me tell you guys this. Today, because CPR, not all of our students needed CPR, there was only 3 students in the building, plus myself and the instructor. So that's 5 people total. So that's not generating a lot of cars today. So I said, I don't believe any of us are parked on Lombard. And she said, well, one of your students, someone is. And I looked at the instructor because I knew he was parked right out front. And I said, well, I know that he's not parked there. And the student said, no, I'm not parked there. She was actually just parked right around the corner on another street. And she said that. And she goes, well, I don't want to make this a big deal. And, but this is something that's happening, increasing. Basically like saying that she thought that we were lying about someone being parked on Lombard. Now, Lombard is about 2 blocks away, and there's quite a bit of parking that's much closer than Lombard. So I don't know. Out of 3 students, I don't know why someone couldn't figure out that there's closer parking than that. But anyway, so I was trying to explain to her that we would definitely talk to the students again about, not parking on Lombard, and how I was trying to explain to her how they get an email. We talked to them on the first day, and she goes, "You're getting defensive." And I was blown away because I was trying to be very nice about this whole situation. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe it's one of our students, because there's, 3 of us in the building right now. So if that truck is there right now, it's not one of our students. I was thinking to myself all the while, seriously, lady? Like, you don't think that you have other neighbors who might, have guests over? Someone maybe got a roommate, things like that. And so I was like, but I was just being nice, trying to be professional in front of, just in general, making sure that the business, keeps a good reputation on how we handle situations. Plus I'm, in front of a student, and so I don't want them to be like, oh my gosh, she's like this crazy lady, because I do have a little bit of crazy in me. So anyway, let's see what happened then. So I was trying to explain to that, and I said, well, I will definitely talk to the students again on Monday. And she goes, you better watch yourself. Oops, sorry, I just bumped the camera. And I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was like, what? Like, in my head, I was like, I think I was just so shocked that she had said that. I couldn't believe it. So I don't even know what that means. And then she basically stormed out the door. So that was the excitement of the day. I am hoping, hope of all hopes, that whoever she was talking about parking there, parks there this weekend, all weekend, doesn't move. Hold on one second. Because I just hope. Anyway, hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's make sure this is adjusted and you guys can all see what I'm doing. So, yeah, I really don't know how I feel about that. Like, I'm not scared of her, but I'm just like, lady, you're crazy to, I mean, in front, like, witnesses. I mean, I don't know why I say in front of witnesses. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's amazing to me what people say. And it probably just was her, you know, it came out wrong or whatever. She, you know, she just, whatever. But I was like, wow, because that's a threat. I don't know. Like, in my book, that's a threat. I am not scared of her by any means, because if anything happens, we could, you know, she would be a prime suspect because she said, you better watch yourself. So if something happened to the school or my car or anything like that, could definitely find her, because I know she lives on Lombard. So I'm not worried about that. It's just the stress if something like that did happen. Yeah, so that was exciting. What I wish I would have told her is said, hey lady, why don't you come back on Monday when my boss is going to be here, because she really likes it when people are rude to me and talk bad to me. And yeah, so after work I stopped by. For those of you that don't know, I work for my mother-in-law, and so I stopped by her house because she lives basically next door to us, to drop off some things from the school. She wasn't in the office today, and so I told her about the crazy lady, and she goes, we need to find out where she lives. So I don't know. We've tried really hard over the years to, you know, make sure that our students aren't parking and taking up parking spots from people who live in the neighborhood, so they don't have to walk, you know, distances to get home. You know, that they have space to park when they get home from a long day. So to have a lunatic like that, like, come in and basically just be like, well, I know it's your students when it's public street parking. And, you know, it's just, I guess it is what it is. It takes all kinds, right? Oh, so my other story about, you know, if you live, hang on one second, guys. Okay. Hopefully that fixes it. So my other story about crazy rude people who live on Lombard was I was at Lowe's. It's like it's a hardware store. Probably most of you probably know what Lowe's is, but it's like a Home Depot or a McLinden's, or I can't remember what the other one is. Anyway, so I was there, and I was actually there with Pat again. We'd gone on break to get some things for the school, and I was putting the cart away when this man out of nowhere just like comes up, and he approaches me and he starts yelling at me, and he's like, your students keep parking in front of my house, and they can't park there, and this, that, and the other, and like in the middle of a parking lot, like broad daylight, like this giant man is coming at me, like, and it's not that he's yelling, like I mean, not that, you know, he has the right to yell at me, but, you know, that wasn't the big deal to me. The big deal to me was he was moving towards me. He was, you know, getting closer as he was yelling. So the whole confronting a stranger, that kind of stuff, you know, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, you know. So anyway, that was my other experience. And that man has been one who has called the school before, complaining about your students. So I'm almost certain that those two are married. They would have to be, I swear, because they're such unhappy, miserable people that I couldn't imagine anyone else being married. Maybe that's why they're so miserable, is because they are married to each other and they're just miserable human beings. I don't know. I guess there's someone for everybody, right? I'm just going to put kind of a second coat on this. Now this is more difficult to film than I thought it was going to be, because it's kind of awkward, you know, but I want to make sure I get a thick enough coat on here where the black paint is going to cover quickly and easily. I sure do miss my craft sheet. Okay, hang on guys, I'll be back. Okay, I'm just having a heck of a time. Oops, sorry about that. Getting this to film properly. So hopefully the beginning doesn't make you guys too dizzy. And hopefully, oops, see I'm getting paint, well, gesso all over everything. Because I painted that edge. So that has been my experience with the residents of Lombard. So that's basically what I said. I'm sure the other neighbors are just lovely, and it's just those two creepy pukes that are just not normal human beings. But like I said, my experience with them, has not been good. And what's funny is my mother-in-law has lived on Lombard before. She's lived in the area for, you know, her whole life. She's local. And so she knows that the parking is at a premium, and she's always been very conscientious about where the students park and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, you know, it really gets her irritated when they say that, you know, we don't try. So let's go ahead and just paint this. That seems to, I don't know what I did, but it seems to have fixed whatever was wrong before. So it's going to be paint all over everything. I'm going to have to clean it up. Luckily I have Totally Awesome to do that. Just painting the full sides because, well, I have very small borders, and it's easier to make passes like this on the sides than it is to just paint those tiny little edges. Paint this border wider than I know that I definitely need it. And I have my marker, my washi tape marker right here, and I know when I go over it, you guys can't see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to be really careful about that. However, I do have limited workspace right now because I have not cleaned up this ginormous mess that I have going on. I've pretty much just went from one project to another without really getting a chance to clean up. And, well, that doesn't, I've kind of crafted myself into a tiny little space. I know you guys have seen a little bit of my messiness surrounding this little area. You can see some things poking out here and over here and over here. So there's lots of mess going on right now. I just got done, not just, I got done making cards and tags, a personal swap, and I'll do a video of those soon. I actually was thinking about going back and doing a video of how I made them. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But anyway, mailed them off, and now the USPS is basically holding them hostage because they were supposed to be delivered today and nothing. They haven't moved since Tuesday, so that's a bummer. Yeah, it's very frustrating. Okay, there is that. Okay. Okay, I am done with the gesso, and so I'll be right back, and I'm going to clean my brush and clean up some of this white and let it dry a little bit. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, hopefully everything is dry enough to do the insides. Got all that black paint splattered around. So, I don't remember what I was talking about. I guess it couldn't have been that important, right? Gosh, I wish you guys could talk back, and then we could talk about things. We could just chat back and forth. And it would be super fun. Almost like a crafting Skyping thing. What was I talking about? I know I had talked about the dogs coming in. We had talked about people being grumpy at Christmas time shopping, or just, actually it's anytime shopping these days. It's crazy to me how people get. Oh, I know what I was going to talk to you guys about. And it is, it's nothing super exciting. I guess I just made it sound more exciting than it actually was. So the gal, oh yeah, I'm trying to get this out by Sunday. And because I wanted to try and get it there by Christmas. I'm doing the best I can with work and everything like that. It's, it takes me a little longer to make things. Plus, if you ask any of my friends, I tend to make things a little more difficult than maybe they need to be. So I am trying to get this out by Monday at the very latest, and so hopefully it would get there in time for Christmas. So let's see. Shipping. So I sent a package, and that reminds me, I have to check it in a little bit, to a friend of mine, and it was supposed to be 2-day priority, and it's, let's see, I might have mentioned this in an earlier video, but it is now 4 days later, and it hasn't moved from the main location that it was processed through. So I'm kind of upset about that because, yeah, it's a swap, but there was also a gift in there for her for Christmas. So I hope that it's not lost and that it gets there, because there was a lot of work put in with the cards and tags that I sent her, but also the gift that I sent her, to not get a Christmas gift. That's sucky. I have another friend who I ordered a gift for, and I still haven't gotten it, so I don't think it's going to get to her in time for Christmas, which makes me very sad, because I always want, we always want our friends to get to have something to open. I know she's going to have things to open on Christmas, but I just wanted to make sure that I wanted her to be able to, you know, have that. So that's kind of a bummer for me. I'm hearing little noises out in the living room from the monsters, and I'm not quite sure what they're getting into right now, so sometimes they make me nervous. We've had to go back to shutting the bedroom door when we're not in there because someone got upset and peed on the new bed. Now, thankfully, the mattress cover saved everything, but to strip a king-size mattress, you know, bed, to wash everything and, you know, all that kind of stuff, it's a chore. So, the hubs and I just said no dogs in the bedroom when we're not in there. So that doesn't make them very happy, but it is what it is. It'll save our sanity, and it will save them from being killed to death for peeing on the bed. So, oops, give that a little bit of time to dry. Can't wait to have this part done because then I can start papering, and then I'm going to embellish. I got some Christmas ribbon, and I think it's really, really cute. I love the color of it. It's adorable. Look at it. It's a shimmery lime green. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to kind of put it over on the box. Hopefully I have enough to wrap the box and then make a pretty bow on it. So fingers crossed for that. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, so back to the shipping. So one time I sent my friend Raven a package, and the U.S. Postal Service was holding it hostage. Now she lives in the Midwest, and so I sent it priority. So again, it should have been there in, I think to her it is 3 days. I think it's a 3-day priority. So it should have been there, you know, in 3 days. Well, it wasn't there, and it wasn't there, and it just was in a holding pattern. And when I called the post office about it, and they did a little bit of research, and of course, you know, there was nothing that they could tell me. But the answer that the guy gave me is, well, hopefully it shakes out soon. And I'm like, what kind of answer is that? Like, shakes out from where? You know, so anytime anyone's package is delayed, even though I hate the phrase because it just annoyed me to no end, like it seriously made me so mad that this guy said it to me. I joke around and I say, well, hopefully it shakes out soon, even though it just annoys me. I don't know. Do you guys ever do that? There's a phrase that just irritates the heck out of you and you say it anyway, just because it's habit or something. So I felt a little Truly Badger jumping on my leg just a second ago. So she may have to go potty, so I may have to pause this. But with... Oop. I thought for a second that hubby got home, but nope, I think they're just playing. Okay. So this is going to be good because you're not going to be able to see most of it. Most of it will be covered up by paper. I was just concerned about the outside of the box a little bit more so than the inside, because the outside, obviously, you're going to see a lot of. And then, oh, sorry about that. And then the cover, it's not as deep, so it's going to show more paint strokes and things like that. Let's go ahead. Hear them rustling around. I don't think the camera picks that up, but I hear them. wrestling in the living room. Running, running, running. So. Okay. And that was my stomach. And I hate that my chair is so squeaky. I don't know if you guys are hearing it, but every time I pivot or twist or anything like that, I can hear it go. And I'm like, oh gosh, I hope they can't hear that, because it's probably gonna drive someone crazy. Although, if you don't like it, no one is holding a gun to your head and making you watch this. I always warn you on that disclaimer that if you need to sleep, then you should watch these. Or if you just need someone to craft along with, even though we're not crafting the same things. Okay, I think, see a little spot. Right there in the box, right there towards the top. Okay. All right, so the box is now painted. So I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to clean up and I'm going to reset for a few things. So I'll see you guys in a bit.